The question of how many countries there are is a difficult question to answer, which is because it depends on who you ask, because not every country is necessarily a country. Every country is still a place, but it's really a matter of if other people and countries think that area of land is a sovereign nation or just part of another country, or completely uninhabited. How is this possible? Well, let's make up a random example. Here, there are two countries. Let's name them KhAnubis and the Bridgeman Republic. In KhAnubis, one of its provinces wants to break away from KhAnubis. Let's call it the Republic of the Ketch. Here, let's say that the Bridgeman Republic recognizes the Republic of the Ketch and supports its independence movement. And, obviously, since we'll be losing some valuable land, KhAnubis doesn't recognize it. So, what this means is that, according to KhAnubis, the Republic of the Ketch is part of KhAnubis, even though if you go there, you would have to go through an international border, see a different flag, hear people singing a different anthem, possibly use a different currency, and probably even speak a different language, all to get into a place as if you're going to a foreign nation, but as far as KhAnubis says, it's still just a rebellious province of it. Got it? If you didn't, I'm sorry, but I only have a few minutes, so let's move on. Now, even if a country is in the UN, other UN countries aren't necessarily obliged to recognize it. North and South Korea don't recognize each other, which is why South Korea refers to itself as Republic of Korea, and North Korea is the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Turkey doesn't recognize Cyprus because it's allied with a less recognized Northern Cyprus, which isn't a UN member. The least recognized country in the UN is Israel, with 32 member states not recognizing it due to the current situation with an unrecognized country that we'll get to later. Even the People's Republic of China, the world's most populous nation, isn't recognized by 21 UN member states, who all claim that the Republic of China, now confined to the island of Taiwan, is the legitimate governor of all of China. Now, let's move on to non-UN states. Remember that nation Israel is in a big conflict with? It is the state of Palestine, currently recognized by 138 nations and unrecognized by 9. Palestine's unusual compared to the other nations I'll be talking about, in that it's not a rebellious part of another country like the US was to Great Britain, or the Republic of the Ketch to KhAnubis, but instead it was its own country since the Arabs gained control of the region from the Ottoman Empire in 1915 and 1970. In 1946, Israel was founded and quickly took over most of the land previously owned by Palestine. In 1948, the UN plans for the borders to look like this, but since then Palestine has shrank to the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. And since then, the West Bank has shrunk even more to essentially a series of large exclaves in eastern Israel. To get into the UN, you need to be recognized by the UN Big Five, although the other 10, as I call them, also have the power over who joins. It's just that the Big Five nations have veto power, meaning that any one of them can keep the nation out of the UN. France, China, and Russia all say yes to Palestine joining the UN. Well, technically they actually say we should and respectively, but that's not the point. The UK abstained from voting, and the US said no to Palestine's joining because of their close ties to Israel. Get a room, you two. The second nation I'll be talking about is the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, declaring their ownership of a territory called Western Sahara, which is one of the least densely populated places in the world, and is so arid that the headquarters of the Polisario Front, who is fighting for the independence of Western Sahara, is in Tindouf, Algeria. The Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic is like Palestine in that Morocco is trying to claim the area from the Polisario, and has been ever since the Spanish gave up the region. To find out more about the Polisario, watch Wonderway's video on Western Sahara. If you want to watch the rest of this video, I put the video link at the top of the description for your convenience. Let's move on to micronations. These are places the people leading them claim are separate nations, but technically aren't. These nations are numerous, but generally don't survive, as their populations are usually less than 100 people, and they usually don't have a way to keep themselves running forever. For this video, I'll be briefly talking about a rather well-known micronation, the Republic of Molossia, which my spell check didn't even recognize while I was typing out this script. Molossia was set up in Kevin Ball's backyard, near the American city of Dayton, Nevada. Micronations are often made by people who often make a flag in Photoshop, put it in their backyard, on an island or an oil rig, or any sizable object not in use, put their money from their HP desktop and compose their anthems in GarageBand. Some people are more sophisticated about this, but this is usually just about what a micronation is. It's also very difficult for a micronation to have a formal diplomatic relation with other countries, likely because if a larger country were to set up an embassy in a micronation, it would probably take up half the micronation's land. And also, The state of Palestine can't join the UN. Why would a nation put on top of an oil rig get to join the UN? Before we finish off, I would like to inform you about the one non-member observer state of the UN that is a country, and everyone agrees it is a country, Vatican City, who prefers to remain neutral and stay outside the UN, which is perfectly fine with the UN, as nations don't have to join the UN to be nations. They have to be a real nation to join the UN. Thank you for watching the second part of my United Nations Explained miniseries, which there might be a third part to, but probably won't. If you want to subscribe, please click the yellow button on screen or the red button below screen. If you want to see the videos I mentioned over the course of this video, you can go to the very top of the description where I put links to all the videos for your convenience. This week, I feel it's relevant to shout out CVV Gray, who makes highly informative and very entertaining videos about science, technology, and politics. And though he doesn't upload very often, his videos are most certainly worth the wait. See you on Wednesday.